Dr. Ruthie Grant. I'm a social psychologist and a professor of critical thinking and an author. And my journey to Oneness University began a year ago when I read The Mayan Calendar by Carl Kalaman, and he mentioned that there was this enlightened being called Kalki, who was helping people reach a state of oneness. And he didn't say very much, but it stuck in my head, and I said, wow, I've got to meet this guy. And I really didn't know what to expect. I just knew that I wanted that feeling and that I wanted to reach that state of enlightenment, and I wanted to put behind all my struggles and all of my anxiety and my fears and be in this state of happiness and bliss. And little did I know that you've got to go through all of your stuff to get there, and that it's a process. I came here with the goal in mind of bliss and enlightenment and didn't really think much about how I was going to get there. And it's been an emotionally painful journey, but an enlightening one, because I've, through the tapes and the Dikshas, I've gotten in touch with where a lot of the pain was coming from. It's happening a little bit at a time. A lot of my anxiety is going away. I'm not stressing out for any long periods of time. It's kind of coming in flashes. I'm getting more and more periods of grace.
I mean, basically the process was a huge blessing, and I feel one of the greatest gifts in my life. And it was interesting because it took me, of course, through peaks and valleys, like I guess everyone goes through, but the comparing mind suddenly sometimes came in and wanted things to be more spectacular or more clear or more, visions and everything. Like the video we're making now, when I saw those videos in the beginning, they all sounded very outrageous to me and very special, and nothing like that was happening to me, not that I could see. And so that reinforced some kind of old thing in me, like, oh, nothing's going to happen to you, or yeah, like that. And I guess I needed to go through that to be open to, basically was a let go and a giving up, which I think is really the biggest surrender in a way.
I came without knowing anything about the process or about Bhagavan or Amma or Pragyanandaji, and I felt immediately an openness to what is happening here. And that openness has been filled with a deep gratitude, and I would say a grace, especially in the last few days. I think it's good for people to know that there are peaks and valleys in the process. It's a pilgrimage, and in any pilgrimage you go through moments where you feel, I think I'll turn back. It's part of a pilgrimage, and it's been absolutely rewarding and nourishing for me to have spent these 21 days.
The process for me, the letting go, getting rid of stuff, and finding out what is really you, that you're not really there, or whatever it is, it was really hard for me. It was really difficult, but it was really easy. And it was peaceful. I had some terrifying moments when I had to the battle Rasputin is what I called it, and it was a huge thing that just actually really scared me. Because I felt, yeah, it's silly, it's a dream, but it felt really real for me, and I think it was just more or less I was battling myself, my inner demons, and Catherine kind of pointed that out too to me, but I kind of knew that, you know, you're dealing with different aspects of you that are scary, that maybe control you in different ways, or you felt controlled you or have power over you, and to let it go and let it be taken into the light is a huge relief, and it made me, you know, really appreciate what I've done over this whole process, and I really enjoyed it. It's very calming and very peaceful for me.
Something has happened, and it's so subtle that it's hard to even, I don't understand how it happened at all, but a shift did occur, and I'm in tune enough that I knew when the shift had occurred, but up until then was like hard, but it did occur. And the shift that I would describe is that I feel, I don't know if everybody experiences this, but I either experience life in a state of contraction or expansion. I would have to describe the state that I'm in now, which feels like my true state, is I'm in a state of expansion. So instead of a black hole, I feel like the universe expanding. That's the difference. And I can feel a central core, and my consciousness is no longer in here, it's in here, and I'm moving outwards more. So it's like, it's different. It's very different. And I feel free inside.
When they were going through the process, this 25-year-old man, Pragyanan, our guide, so wise beyond most people's years, instructing us on ways of being in our life and letting go and of just identifying with things that they have to be this way. Why? Just do nothing. What are you supposed to do? What are we supposed to do now? Do nothing. What?
That's really hard, especially for us Westerners.
But it was powerful.
What happens in the nothing is that everything comes into the nothing in order to be dealt with.
You need to do all these practices. If you don't do them, you're not going to make it.
I've never found doing nothing so difficult, and this was the most difficult doing nothing I've ever done in my entire life.
Challenging, but yet,
I'm going insane. I was pacing in my room. I'm like, gotta do something.
She's going insane. I'm sleeping. I'm like, oh, I can't even wake up. Why is it like this? Well, you had that too. You couldn't wake up too at certain part.
No, but I didn't sleep
Not
like
me.
you did. No.
But what was powerful is that your body really does recognize that this is the way to do it.
Yeah, well, didn't I make you feel better when I said it's your nervous system knowing how to integrate the work, and it will do it however it needs to do it?
It's like what you do. You said
I did
you
it
had
like a
good
crazy
analogy.
person, and you did it like a person in a coma. It's two very different
Which is what your
things.
body would do if you had major surgery. It needs the
Yeah.
rest. That's what Catherine said to me at one point, and I went, oh yeah, that does make sense. And it did feel like I was getting rewired and things were getting changed, and I knew that I was also thinking about that too, but then I had to try to let go of that even. So it was really weird.
So I feel like we're at the threshold of a completely new life. And Bhagavan just said, wait till you see what happens when you get back.
It's so beautiful. It's a great way of looking at life, being more positive about it, and spreading more love. So if that's the least that happens from this, then well, that's huge.
Well, I always felt like we've both been blessed with being in a position like a public persona, being in the
Working actors.
being in the field that we're in. So I always felt there was a huge responsibility with that. If you're famous, then you're automatically a role model for people, and what does that mean? And so I feel like we will be able to activate being role models that can actually transform people. So that's the whole point. Otherwise, what are we reflecting to people? What are we offering them?
That was
Nothing.
even kind of like what our show that we had done was. If we had had this in there, maybe we would have continued and done more. Or maybe we just go into something bigger anyhow. Why not?
It's a divine plan, and I feel like we're connected now with what we really came to do on this planet, and I'm excited to see how it's going to evolve. I really am.
Yeah, me too.